Well, Dave, it's great to have you here in my studio.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here.
I've always wanted to check out your stuff. I've seen the notices over the years, but I don't get up to Teme-Agama very often, and I just didn't catch you here in town. But it's really great to have you as part of World Culture FusionFest. How do you feel about this gathering?
Oh, it's like no other gathering, really. It's got its own feel for sure. It's kind of like grassroots music of all different kinds from all over the world, and a lot of percussion, and my guitar playing has a lot of percussion in it anyway. So it's a good blend with all the drums that are around, and the vibe is just I don't know. It makes you feel human again. I might say, as opposed to being caught up in modern day society so much. But it's just a relaxing kind of feel. And this morning we did some improv songs that came off really good because the energy was just where you want it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, very collaborative. That's a big word to say. Cozy.
Cozy.
How long have you been playing and singing?
Very good question. In terms of years, over 3 decades. We'll just leave it at that for now.
All your life, I think.
Pretty much. I started when I was 15. My brother and I took over my dad's $75 Japanese Regent 6-string dreadnought guitar and beat the hell out of that for a number of years. Like we were just emulating what we saw at my dad's gatherings with a few players around town coming in and playing and having people dance and sing and making them all happy, and we wanted to do that too, so we started playing and ended up with a few country songs, then moved into a lot of Dylan and Lightfoot because my sister brought home these music books that had the chord diagrams in them, and we were able to hear the recording and then copy the song. And we did that for, I don't know, probably a good 6 years, just playing the hell out of that old guitar.
Oh, right on, right on. You have a very talented family.
Yes, thank you.
Well, how would you describe your music?
I think my music is a combination of everything I've played. I went through all the different genres, playing cover songs, then I began my own writing about 20 years ago. So I had all that kind of in the back of my brain, and it kind of comes out at different places. But I always liked, been driven back to the land and percussion, and somehow put that in my guitar playing. And so I just feel it, the energy rising up from the ground or something. And able to put some kind of sense to music with it, and a story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the beat of the heart is a powerful thing, right? And,
well, that's for sure.
I think that activates something in people when they hear that in the music. I'm not saying that without it, the drumming and percussion, that you don't have it, but it's something extra special that gets your blood pumping.
It is, yeah.
I think
people can latch onto that real quick.
Now you sang a couple times. The last 2 times I saw you at your sister's backyard, and again yesterday at 151 Club. An original song that was written after you lost somebody. Can you tell me about that song? It's the one that you...
Can't Take You With Me.
That's it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lovely tune. It's got the story of losing my brother, and I wrote that song the day I was supposed to play at a memorial for him, and I had this melody simmering around in my brain. I was just playing, learned from noodling really, sitting on the couch and playing subconsciously, and I had this melody, and I was able to put the words and the melody together and come up with that tune. But it's his voice that's coming through the song.
Wow, yeah, it's very powerful. I feel it. Is that on one of your CDs?
It's on Under the Raven's Wing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How many CDs have you got?
I have 3 CDs out.
Okay. What was the most recent one?
The most recent one is called I Know I Can Fly.
Right.
And That's all about finding freedom, and me finding freedom, I guess, in nature, and passing it on to people who want to listen. It's about watching birds fly and wonder what it's like to be up there with them, and from all different angles, looking down at them from a mountain, looking up at them from the lake, and looking sideways in the wind. But they're always ever present where I live in Teme-Agama, and I was able to capture that feeling in that song and relay it to the rest of the world.
Do you have anything coming up in October, November?
October 4th, we're playing at Jazz at the Junction with David Laronde Trio with Peter Klisch and Dylan Chagwaja.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be a good gathering. Then I'm playing.
Where's that going to be?
At Jazz at the Junction. It's at the West Ferris Legion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just up the street from just off the highway, near Pinewood Park.
Yep, just down the road.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to that one. And I'm doing a concert with the Academy of, Avenue Road Academy. There's an intimate venue down there called the Gordon Lightfoot Room, and I'll be doing a concert there in Toronto at that venue on October the 13th.
Oh, okay.
And part of the same day, I'll be doing a workshop with a nearby school for grade 5 and 4 kids. Be talking about my music with them and getting them to play along with me, much like we did today.
Right on. Do you do a lot of that?
This is the first time playing with the kids. Actually, this will be my 4th time.
Right.
But each time has been very rewarding for me. There's something about the young minds that, and the questions they asked and how they perceive the music, and they basically love to be involved in the kind of energy that music brings to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turns them on, and it takes away the stress part.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. It uses a different part of the brain, like musical instruments do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when there's not really tight constraints, so that you can be creative and not be judged too much.
Yeah, I think you get them in that environment, and they forget about everything else and just go with it. So
just like the older musicians I know.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lifelong therapy thing that you can tap into, I imagine.
Oh yeah, for sure. I play a little bit every morning to look for some new songs, and part of my process is to play and not think about what I'm doing. Have that first cup of coffee, and then let my fingers do the thinking, and I end up tripping over something I haven't played before, or a certain note, or a melody line, or anything that can spark a song. So you just need that start to find a new song. But I've been lucky enough to be able to pick up a lot of song ideas and be able to run with it and use all my experience that I have over the years and put it all together.
I noticed in each song you have a bit. Well, I don't know music very well, so my description of it. But you break out with a melody that's different. It's a different sound, and you sort of just infuse it into the song. Am I missing something there? But that's what I'm catching.
Yeah, I think you're right, because each song that I do has to be different from the last one. I don't want to have two songs that sound the same. So that's probably why I use different producers on my albums to kind of get a different vibe and a totally different sound. I'm really happy with the last album. I worked with Peter Klisch, and we did a wonderful job collaborative job on coming up with some great sounding music for that one, using my lyrics. So
did you get him on stage last night, or had to leave early?
No, we didn't get him on stage last night. It was a pretty busy stage.
Oh yeah, it was, eh?
It was already kind of filled up with a lot of different sounds, and it was really a mishmash of talent there. But we did do something. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Is it too humid out here to have you demonstrate something you learned recently?
No, not at all.
I can cut out the tuning part if you want.
I think it's already in tune.
You're good?
Oh yeah. I like using 12 string because it gives you a different spectrum of music. A little bit of a change up from the 6. I don't know why I always play the C minor chord. I guess it sounds mysterious, or it stirs up emotions inside me. So I always, just that simple sound will spark ideas. Then I would just noodle around. Have a sip of coffee. See what happens. I'll play you a verse from a song that I wrote called "Show Me a Sign." It was just the sun rays are breaking through the clouds, and there was a real bright spot. I took it as a sign of to look back and look for some kind of a spiritual guidance or something. So here it goes. Show me a sign, show me the way now. Show me your dreams, show me today. I am for you, you are for me now. Show me your love, show me your love tonight. I was flying high. I was up there in a clear blue sky. I was trying to find my way on my own. You were sighing, you were crying, you were lying along the road. You were trying to find your way all alone. There's got to be a better way. Someone to take your hand. Listen to what I've got to say. Maybe you'll understand. Show me a sign.
That's excellent, man.
Thank you.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so the 12 string fills out a lot of sound spectrum there.
Yeah.
So.
Jeez. I haven't actually listened to a 12 string that close before, and it's a lot different. It's a lot different depth. It's more depth, I think.
Yeah, the other thing with spectrum is on my first 2 albums, I like to use piano to fill in a lot of the sound spectrum that guitars don't reach.
Right.
So you get a real full sound and more dynamic, depending on the piano player too. That's another idea. I like a full sound and a percussive sound, and a sound that moves me. When I was living in Quebec, I worked there for 4 years in mining exploration. I heard these Quebec artists in the day, and they were. One of them was Robert Paquette. And they had a sound to their music that was just uplifting, and I was thinking about the lyrics in my own mind, putting lyrics to their music because I didn't understand French. So, and that's kind of stuck with me too, to have that big, lively sound, a lot of strings. Back then I was really into violin a lot, and the folk kind of band with the violin. Guitars and bass and drums. That was my sound back then.
Great.
So it kind of grew on me that way.
Well, that's sounds like you're trained yourself in all this aspect. Have you ever had any other musical training?
When I went to Vancouver to search my fame and fortune in music, I had 8 guitar lessons from a classical guitar player.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking about enrolling in UBC, the music program, and I got hooked up with this guy. He barely spoke English, but he played classical guitar. I had 8 lessons from him, and that was a foundation for a lot of my finger picking, because I was playing banjo at the same time, so the banjo playing and the classical guitar playing rolled up into my guitar playing, and that really sparked my guitar playing up. I was able to just have a natural kind of my own style with finger picking that way. And playing the Lightfoot stuff was a lot of finger picking.
Yeah.
So I'll roll that all up into one, and you have the product of my finger picking.
Well, again, more depth and breadth, eh?
Yes, of course.
Who are some of the other people you enjoyed playing with over the years?
You mean bandmates, or?
Yeah.
Oh, some main people looking backwards from the last album. It's Peter Klisch and Dylan Chagwaja that were carrying my sound today.
That's that Dylan that was in the room the other?
Yes, he's a very, very good musician.
Yeah.
Bass and keys. Dylan was on my first album also. When I first met him, he was a piano player, and we had him do some background vocals too. And on my middle album, Under the Waves Wing, Sean Sasniak was instrumental on that one. He did a lot of great percussion work on that album. That album has a unique sound to it too. The whole album is folk rock, and with a tinge of blues, I guess you might say, in the playing, but there's actually no blues songs on it. But then again, it's a unique sound. It's a different sound on that album. Scott Altman played bass on that one. Sam Deputy did some nice singing on it, violin playing. My first album was produced by Julian Cote, which happens to be my second cousin. But he had a studio called Pinewood Productions over in Atikokan, west of Sudbury. Mm-hmm. And we worked on the first album there, Right City Wrong Town, which was my first album, and I really had no idea how to work in the studio. So Julian and I kind of grew. I should say I grew a lot with him through that album and to the recording scene. And we had 4 different drummers on that album, and so we really didn't know I didn't really have a handle on what I wanted to produce. So we just took some songs that I wrote and put them all together, and started off with a simple theme. Right City, Wrong Town was the name of the album, and the name of the title track is from my time in Toronto and getting out of Toronto. Being a northern boy, the way I'm made, I couldn't live in the city too long. So
I felt the same way. When I tell people I lived in Toronto, they ask how long, I say, well, 2 years less a day.
Yeah.
It felt like I was in jail down there.
Yeah.
I was allowed out for weekends. I used to hitchhike up north here. Just give me 2 days, I'll hitchhike out. I couldn't stand it.
Well, it's funny, when I was a teenager, I did the opposite. I hitchhiked out of Teme-Agama to come to North Bay to hang out with my cousins for the weekend. So it was kind of reverse that way.
Yeah.
And then when I got to the big city, Toronto, I worked downtown for a mining company, and I walked in there one day and said, I can't take this anymore. So I had to say, I'm going to move on, people. I got to do something. I got to get out of the city.
And was that good for you?
Oh yeah, I had to do it. I just felt like it didn't belong there. Just people that had didn't have the right kind of vibe for me. They were always on guard all the time. Like, you say hello to someone on the street and they don't want to say hello back because they think something's wrong with you, or you want something from them. So, and on the subway, just no one talking on the subway, all quiet, going to work, looking back, not making eye contact. It was really weird.
Yeah.
So that's in one of my songs, that line. On the subway every morning, no one talks or makes a sound. So anyway, took so much of it and went back. Actually went to Vancouver then, and then back to Thunder Bay.
How long were you in Vancouver?
Just a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always wanted to go to Vancouver and try to play music out there. I was pretty young I was only 23 at the time, and was very shy, so I probably wasn't that good of a musician either. So I didn't really make any inroads with anywhere in folk clubs. So I went back to work. And
Yeah, you got to be a little bit more polished when you go there, I guess.
I guess so.
What year was that?
I was back in '83.
83, eh?
Yeah, so a while ago.
A little while ago. Yeah.
Now you know how old I am.
I'm doing the math there. I'm counting 60.
23, 33, 43.
Yeah, something like that. I tried the Go West Young Man thing myself in 1989. I ended up in White Rock, just south of Vancouver.
Yep.
And I was 24 at the time, and not quite as good enough journalist as I needed to be, and certainly didn't feel like it was my home out there. I lasted 3 months.
Oh. Well, yeah, I can see that happening very easily.
Well, I had enough money for 1 more month's rent or gas to get home.
That's what you call a fork in the road.
Yeah. I hit the road. I had a 75 Mustang I bought used out there. It was a piece of junk, but tied a tire to the top because I had to fill it with everything I owned, and I had to stop every 2 hours on the way back because the rad was so good. I had to fill it back up. Radio didn't work.
Wow.
But I made it back.
That sounds like a song in there somewhere.
There's a song there for sure. What would you like to share about yourself so that new fans could get a good idea of what you're all about? I think we've covered a lot of it.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to just say that I found a lot of strength in natural surroundings where I'm from. I'm from Lake Teme-Agama. I'm living there now, and well, 6 or 8 months of the year on the lake. And up there, you kind of can sense some kind of natural power that around with ancestors sending messages through the wind, through birds. And when I have a meeting with a lynx or a wolf or a fox or something, and it's unusual, well, that could be a sign there that someone's talking to me too. But I think there's a freedom for everybody to look at your natural surroundings and tune in more to that, because when you do walk into the forest, you already feel some natural energy that grounds you better. It's easy to get caught up in things these days, but I think more focus on that. I like my music to make people think about that, and just maybe care for the planet better also.
So turn off this video and go outside and go for a walk.
Well, you got to do the music and get it out there somehow. So.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the medium.
We got to reach the people. That's where they're at, right? And but they're coming out more, and there's a real thirst for music. Do you feel that pulse of people are hungry and thirsty for live music again?
I think that people are hungry for that, and also to feel some kind of secureness. Or I think that's within everybody, to find that place too, just to feel like you belong somewhere.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So it's simple, but it does take work. I mean, it's easy to get sidetracked in things and end up somewhere you don't want to be.
Yeah, and you need that one thing in your life that brings you back to your center.
Yeah, I think that's why people listen to music in the first place, to take them somewhere. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate this. and I think people will like this, like get to know you better. Yeah.
Yeah, this is perfect. Thank you. It's nice to get the music out there, and a lot of people that hear my music like it, so I'm pretty happy about that. It makes me want to do more. So that's where we are now. We're gonna.
What are you doing October 20th?
October 20th. I don't know.
It's a Thursday night here in North Bay. I got the Moose Cookhouse book. I'm going to do a little bit of a thing, a dinner show.
I guess that's what I'm doing then.
Right on. Right on.
Great, another date. I look forward to it.
Right on. Right on. Thanks, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll